Hey Libra, welcome to Get Life 333 Tarot. I'm going to be doing a full spread for the Pluto Conjunct South Node. So I'm going to be pulling a crowning energy, and then I'm going to be doing an actual full spread. I'll explain the spread if you're not familiar with it as we go along. But we have a lot of stuff going on, so let's get right into it. We have the new moon, the first astrological new moon in the in this astrological new year. Yeah, so it's going to be 15 degrees in Aries on Friday. Very, very powerful stuff going on right now, guys, like no joke. We have this Pluto is going to be sitting conjunct with the South Node in Saturn. This is really intense energy. So this is the deconstruction of what is right now in our lives, focusing us on areas where we've been feeling really oppressed or repressed, just very restricted, almost shackled, just really held back. And we're being asked to look at these areas. And for you guys, Libra, it's in your 4th house of family and home. So, you know, this is something that we're going to be discussing on the mundane level throughout this reading, keeping in mind the overall energy that we're going to talk about, that you need to focus on changing. And you want to change it willingly. You don't want Saturn going in there and changing it for you. Remember, Saturn is the father, the great taskmaster, and if you are being asked to change something and you don't change it, Saturn will change it for you. And it's so much easier if we could just do these things ourselves. So Libra, 4th house, home, family, yeah. So this can hit on a number of levels for you guys. You have to ask yourself, have you been feeling very restricted in this area? You know, disempowered in some way due to some circumstance having to do with your family, and maybe even a situation with your actual home, property, or investment that you have. Just feeling these very imposed restrictions on you from others, including your own relationship, that might be threatening your security, you know. And this also indicates that what you normally do, Libra, to like relax yourself behind closed doors, you know, like at the end of the day, if you normally maybe would read or just have like a little glass of wine or watch a little TV, whatever you would do to relax, you're not even able to do that effectively right now, just because of all of these outside circumstances just weighing on you so heavily. You're just feeling this very heavy sense of restriction, and you just can't access any real time to decompress because of this burden of responsibility, you know, due to a partner, a partnership, or contractual agreement, or a certain family relationship that's an issue right now in some way. It's just feeling very burdensome, yeah. And it's the thing, like this, it's like the energy though is coming from the outside and it's opposed on you. So you're not even really comfortable right now to be who you really are, like your authentic self. But the thing is, I get that this has been going on for so long, you're not even really sure what that means. You're not even able to access that deep part of yourself, that, you know, your deepest needs, wants, and desires. You're just feeling all this pressure. It's your home life, your family, your relationship, your job. You know, you're getting pressures at work as well. Somehow, it doesn't mean you're fighting with people at work, but something is going on at work that's making you feel a lot of pressure. And this is a really important time to break free from these shackles, Libra, to create a fresh start. And that's going to be whatever that means to you. And maybe after addressing the spread, it'll make more sense. But really, that you're being called to visit each of these rooms in your life. You know, anything having to do with your home, family, and anything that you consider home to you, you know, in your heart. So that could actually be your place of employment, particularly if you're an entrepreneur, because it's like an extension of your home. So you really need to look at all of these things and how they're working for you in your life, you know. And this is really important time for you to break free and look at relationships, which this new moon very much supports. You know, a renewed sense of passion in a relationship, or you starting something new, like maybe a new partnership at work, or you could even be meeting someone new, a new romantic partner. But there's this sense of renewal in family relationships as well that maybe you've been struggling with. You know, maybe an issue has been going on with a family member and you guys have been, you know, on the out. So you do have, keeping in mind, just to reflect back on my last video, you guys do have Jupiter retrograde in your 3rd house of communications in addition to this in April. So, you know, Jupiter retrograde means Jupiter is going to be hanging out in this house of communication. And like I said in my other video, Jupiter is like your best friend who comes in and cleans up your messiest room, who knows what you really need and what you don't really need, even though you think you might still need it. Jupiter gets rid of it. You know, it's like, I'm getting rid of this shirt because you haven't worn it in 5 years, you know, kind of thing. So communication across the board is going to be improving for you. But you have to take that good part, okay, that Jupiter retrograde, that benefit, and you have to apply it to this Pluto with this South Node in Saturn, because you're being pushed to not only look at these things having to do with everything that we discussed, but you're being forced to make changes, okay? So let's get right into it. We have the never-ending story as your crowning energy. And what this means, the essential meaning of it, is self-criticism, Libra. It's wounded ego. It's unnecessary dramas going on. You know, it's this card, there's a story woven into this card, you know? It's just the story of the imperfect fabric of life, right? That tells of hurt and loss and rejection and humiliation and self-loathing and arrogance and all manner of suffering that's born out of unnecessary dramas, you know? It's that old story whose refrain that you can't do this, you can't do that, you must not go there, you shouldn't say this, don't do that, or everything's going to fall apart, right? You have to know that none of that is actually true. You know that cognitively. You guys are very intelligent. You know none of that is true. But that's the voice that tends to hold you guys back. You know, the sky's not falling. The voice you hear is just a small, scared, conditioned part of you that's gotten stuck in a lie, that wants to protect you, that needs to be seen as a victim. And I mean that in the most loving way. This is absolutely what's coming through here. You have to love that lost piece of you, Libra. Fear is all it knows, and you have to know that. And it gets like this distorted guidance that's preventing you ultimately from being true to yourself. You are not your story, and the narrator is simply the voice of your fearful part, small and vulnerable and easily soothed by bullshit. You know, so you really just need to be brutally honest with yourself about this stuff, you know? And as far as relationships go, this card speaks to, you know, look, sometimes your heart enters into a contract with another person that results in pain, and not because of abuse or neglect, but for other more complex reasons, I think, you know? Shame, fear of intimacy, low self-esteem. These are so challenging when you're experiencing them in a relationship. It's really hard to have a successful relationship feeling those things. So you have to consider how valuable this knowledge is, though, you know? Just knowing this, you know? You have the right to heal yourself. Yeah. You have to reflect on the stories you created in your mind about love and connection and abandonment and loneliness, right? You have to really become familiar with what you've been telling yourself over the years. Because you need to understand what you've been doing and where you've been in order to start a new story for yourself. And part of that means self-forgiveness. You know, having compassion for the part of you that believes in all those narratives, because none of them were true anyway, you know? You have a lot going on here. There's fear, envy, procrastination, greed, and the perception of a victimhood that it could all be active in your life right now. Definitely is for some of you, I know that. So are you comparing yourself with others, thinking of that their success should be yours? Or maybe you're afraid of all the good that's coming your way, so you step out of your lane totally aware that what you're doing, you know, might look like you know what you're doing, but then you're like, no, I really don't know what I'm doing, because you become scared at the last minute. You know? Yeah. You know, are you scared about money? You're scared about your finances and you know, what you're going to do if you end up leaving this situation? You're best off just stop telling all these stories to yourself altogether and just start making up a new one. Create a new one which you would like to move into and focus on that, and really don't acknowledge this voice that's beckoning you from the past after you address why it's there in the first place, because these things are not born in a vacuum, right? You have to really look at what was the dynamic in your house when you were growing up? How did your parents treat you? Were you invisible? Were you heard? Were you not heard? Were you silenced? You have to look at all of these things because, again, these things aren't born just puff, all of a sudden you're this way. Understand why you're this way, forgive everyone involved, and just move on, creating a new story. Because this is a time to avoid dramas at all costs, especially when it comes to other people's stuff. Your sensitivity is on overload right now. And you're best served, honestly, right now by keeping your distance. You know, right now you just have to be focused on that, you know, that saying, it's not my monkeys, not my circus, or not my circus, not my monkeys. You guys, you know what I mean. And just really focus on you and what you need right now, you know. So we have this Fool as the foundation. Again, love it, right? It's the epitome of endings and new beginnings. So I like it as the root energy here. So this first one is you, the situation. It's 8 of Cups reverse, Libra. This is telling you to ask yourself what you are holding on to. Are you clinging to the past when you really do know that the current situation has to change? You might be feeling like you stayed too long past the expiration date of something. You know, it could be your relationship, it could be your job. You're just not able to see an alternative path for yourself right now. But at this point, you're not seeing any logical solution. And the thing is this, the answer out of this situation is not going to be found in your intellect, but through your instincts. And you know, Libra, you guys know, you're very good with this. You know how important timing is. So timing is very important right now. So just trust that you'll know when the right time is to move on in whatever the situation is without pressure, you know. Also, some of you may be feeling really abandoned right now, Libra, while others move on from you, which can cause some real confusion for you. And this doesn't even have to be literal. This could be emotional, like you're just feeling this incredible emotional distance with someone, and you feel emotionally abandoned by them. So these are things that you must recognize and you have to look at. And then we have in the second position, which is your risk position, Queen of Swords reverse. So this energy suggests that, Libra, you're making excuses for bad behaviors or a situation in which you are unjustly attacked or somehow unjustly involved in. And this card could mean someone close to you has turned suddenly bitter and really vengeful towards you, just really nasty. This indicates extreme stress for you. Whoever you're dealing with here has no idea how unreasonable their demands have become. They're clueless. They're clueless. So to me, that does indicate somebody who is potentially a narcissist, where they're doing things, but they genuinely don't recognize it because they're just not capable, you know. And then we have this third position, which is the gift. This is a gift from the situation being given to you. 7 of Swords. Your gift here is your intuition and your intellect, Libra, which you're going to need right now to get to the truth or the full story, get the full story regarding some situation going on with either your family or in your relationship. Some transgression is going on here. It's either going on or it has gone on. Someone's being very selfish when it comes to you, taking too much from you emotionally right now. Absolutely. Yeah. For some, it can be even worse, where that you might even be, somebody might have even stolen from you or somehow defrauded. But using your intuition, this suggests that playing this person at their own game to find out what you need to know is going to work for you. Something unfair is indicated here, Libra. Something unfair is happening, having to do with either your home, your relationship, or your workplace that you normally felt comfortable in. You know, where you normally had that sense of home in. Yeah. And then we're looking at what you gain, what you can gain here. We have the Magician, which is wonderful. So if you make these changes, Libra, then we have the evolved Fool, right? Because the Fool evolves into the Magician once he figures out his shit, right? and he figures out the reason why he's gone through what he's gone through, and he lives life a little bit, then he evolves into the magician. This is so positive. I mean, you'll have the ability to transform whatever you choose, as soon as you, though, on a personal level, make the most of your skills and your talents and step into your power. Yeah, Libra, I mean, this is about you focusing on your personal strengths. All of this is going to connect you with your higher self by acting with pure intentions, right? And this requires you to mandate behavior that's acceptable regarding how your family, your friends, and your partner treat you. You guys hate confrontation, but continuing as passive as you probably have been will only force the change on you by Saturn. So if you want things to be different, you have to do things differently, You just have to do it. Okay, and then we have this outcome card, the Three of Swords reverse. So listen, Libra, the clouds of doubt are cleared and you can do nothing but face the reality of all that's gone on. This indicates betrayal, an affair, some sort of disloyalty, maybe in another area, like, maybe work. Someone was very disloyal towards you at work. But whatever it is, there are huge fights here, lots of drama. But what's good about the fight is that everything's going to come out. Everything's going to be laid on the table. And then you're going to be made to make a decision about what you want to do at that point. So what ends up happening now at this point, because this is all going to be starting on Monday, doesn't mean that it's going to come to ultimate culmination, by Tuesday. It doesn't work like that. And energy is very fluid, so everyone's story is going to be different. But all of this is going to be starting Monday. But again, with you guys having the support of Jupiter retrograde in your house of communication, I feel like you're going to have the tools to make the changes through communication. You must communicate. And if you're dealing with people who are not going to be responsive to your communication, if they don't want to hear it, if they're not willing to work with you, you have to move past them. If it's a family member, love them from a distance. If it's a partner, you have to seriously rethink if you're in the right space for your ultimate good. Because if you don't do this, again, Saturn's just going to go right in and make the changes for you. And that's so much more challenging to deal with, right? So, Libra, I hope this was helpful. And thanks so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.